Northern Lights Express, an embattled railway project that's been in and out of the legislature for decades, has finally secured the funding it needs to become reality. Northern News Now's Quinn Gorham followed the vote today and has the latest on the future of the railway.
The coalition that's been working on this in northeastern Minnesota has been working on this for years.
Jen McEwen, a DFL senator from Duluth, is well aware of the uphill battle the Northern Lights Express has faced for years now. But Thursday, the passenger railway between Duluth and the Twin Cities is coming one step closer to reality.
We have a record amount of funding, $50 million allocated for the Northern Lights Express. That's in the Senate Transportation bill and budget.
The House passed the bill late last week. Their total for the project was a whopping $194 million. With a federal match, the House version of the bill has more than enough funding to get the project fully funded.
So going into that conference, the discussion is going to be what that final number is, but we're in an excellent starting place for that.
Either way, the Northern Lights Express appears to finally be happening, but it wasn't passed without pushback from the GOP.
The majority of the people in my district are still opposed to it. They really don't feel it will serve them very well.
Senator Jason Rarick is a Republican who represents large parts of Pine County where the rail would pass directly through. He says the project feels unnecessary.
Getting dropped off in Duluth isn't going to help the vast majority of people who are going north for a weekend. So it just isn't going to serve near the number of people that I believe the projections say.
But McEwen says it's about having another option.
And there is a demand, even though the time is approximately equal if you're going to drive your car versus take the train. I mean, some people can't drive, some people don't own cars.
In St. Paul, Quinn Gorham, Northern News Now.
Now that the bill has passed the Senate, the final funding amount will be settled in a conference committee before heading to the governor's desk.